What's up guys, welcome back to Jim Tan Beef, and today's stream of consciousness video is going to be on positive versus negative dopamine cycles. And now this is coming from a guy who used to live in negative dopamine cycles. Like this is me when I was in a negative dopamine cycle. And you can see over here my face how chubby it was, and now look at me. This is positive dopamine cycles. Jacked, shredded, tan, chiseled jawline. Like way better than I look in both of these pictures here. And this was all because I learned how to create positive dopamine cycles and get out of negative dopamine cycles. And I almost fell back into a negative dopamine cycle this morning, so that's what inspired me to make this video. Now, usually in the morning, I'll wake up, no phone, immediately read the Bible, and then I'll go take my dog for a walk. I'll make a couple of Instagram stories. I'll come back in, and then I'll do 2 hours of deep work. So no phone, just working on my YouTube video, and then I'll get into Instagram. I'll answer any DMs if people want to set up client calls with me, or if people have any questions on health for me. I will answer any of those questions, set up any client calls. But this morning I did the exact opposite of that. I immediately grabbed my phone and I started with a doom scroll. So this doom scroll immediately depressed me because at the time I'm making this, Charlie Kirk was just shot, I think, last week. So the whole internet is just like negativity right now. And my whole feed at least is just full of different conspiracy theories and like what really happened, and it's just really negative. Like your mind wasn't made to see all that negativity or even get all that dopamine in the morning, because even when they make those like conspiracy reels, that's just releasing dopamine in your mind, and it really messes up your mind first thing in the morning. And that's why I always start the day with the Bible, is because that's my spiritual nourishment. And like, I don't read the Bible every morning to be like, oh, look at me, I'm such a good Christian. In fact, it's the opposite. Like, I want to become a better Christian. I'm lacking in a lot of ways in my Christian faith. So that's why I start my morning with the Bible. And that's what I do with all my one-on-one coaching clients, is we tailor their morning routine to exactly the goals they want to achieve. So if one client wants to lose weight, first thing he has to do in the morning is go on a walk or do some sit-ups, do some push-ups. The first thing you do in the morning will set the tone for the rest of your day, and you're already building that positive dopamine cycle. Versus if you say you want to lose weight, but the first thing you do in the morning is scroll on Instagram for 30 minutes, then you're already rotting in bed. So you already wasted 30 minutes where you could be burning calories, being out in the sun, turning off your melatonin production by getting sunlight in your eyes, because you do actually produce your own melatonin, and you turn that off by getting morning sunlight. So you always want to start your morning with what you want to work on the most. So again, that's for me, creating a better spiritual relationship with God, becoming a better Christian, learning more about the Christian faith. And for you, if you're trying to lose weight, that's going for a walk. If you're trying to build muscle, then the first thing you should be doing in the morning is eating some protein. Actually, before that, you should be drinking water to hydrate, but then eating some protein. Like, you have to set your day up for success, and it all starts with what you do first thing in the morning. But when I started with that doom scroll, then I was like on the couch for an hour, and I was so lazy. I was like, okay, I'll just take out my dog. And then I took my dog for a walk, and I didn't even make my Instagram stories because I already like threw off my routine. I was already in that negative dopamine loop where I was like, I've worked enough this week. It's already Thursday and I have client calls on the weekend. So, you know, maybe I'll just take off today, like have a digital detox day. But it's all just an excuse. Like, you can hear how much of an excuse that is. All because I started with a doom scroll in the morning. It already set me up for failure. And then I got back inside and I read my Bible. And the thing is I'm always hungry first thing in the morning. Like when I'm reading my Bible, when I do my normal routine, I'm always hungry. But this time when I'm doing my doom scroll, I wasn't hungry. And it was only when I got back in from walking my dog this morning, I started reading my Bible, then I realized, oh, I'm hungry. So I'm reading my Bible, I'm just thinking about eating the whole time, and I caught myself then saying, dude, you are in a negative dopamine loop right now. Like, look at you. You're reading your Bible, all you're thinking about is food, and then you already wasted an hour of your morning doom scrolling, and this was really going to set me up for a failure of a day. So instead of rewarding my body for how it wanted to with that negative dopamine cycle, I said, you know what, I'm going to be my own drill sergeant, and I get no dopamine this morning. I don't get any food until I go to the gym, get my tan, and then I can have my beef. So what did I do? I fasted until I went and ran 20 fasted sprints, and then I was under the sun getting a tan, and immediately it changed my mood. Like, I was not planning on making a YouTube video today. I was not planning on really even going outside and going to the gym today, all because I started with that doom scroll. And I just want you guys to take away this example of how quickly like your actions can turn into just a negative cycle. And if you guys have ever read a book called Atomic Habits, there's a great thing in there that says, when you do something once, it's just a mistake. But when you do something twice, it already becomes a habit. So like right then I had to recognize what I was doing, getting into that negative dopamine loop, and I had to like slap myself out of it and say like, bro, we're replacing that negative dopamine loop with some positive dopamine loop. And when you go outside and you go to the gym, okay, let's start with the gym. First, when you go to the gym, your body actually releases dopamine and serotonin because your body knows that exercise is good for it. And that's why after you work out or after you go for a run, you always feel so good. Your body is literally releasing dopamine. So I replaced all that negative dopamine from the internet with the gym. And then the sun, getting your tan like in Gym Tan Beef, is also going to release serotonin and dopamine. Like, this is why you feel so good when you go on a beach vacation, because you're outside in nature, you're grounding, you're getting sun. And that's why like when you come back home to the hotel after being at the beach all day, you're just so like relaxed and in a state of bliss. It's because your brain is literally releasing dopamine and serotonin. It's rewarding yourself for doing something healthy for your body. And the same dopamine loop doesn't really apply to beef, because processed food, I'm going to admit guys, it's going to release more dopamine and serotonin right away compared to whole foods like beef, eggs, raw milk. But that's because it's literally designed to release dopamine and serotonin in your brain. Like, food scientists make it the right amount of salty, the right amount of sweet, give it the right amount of crunch, and it's all to hit what's called your bliss point. And like literally these scientists are evil and design it to literally make you addicted to it. But it's over the long term that you get addicted to beef, or you get that dopamine release from beef. Because once you start to see yourself getting shredded, putting on some muscle, getting a more chiseled J-line, that's when you're going to be like, okay, this good food equals a good body, therefore I should eat it more often. And for me, it's more like I feel like such shit after I eat processed food. Like, I can feel it in my stomach sitting like a rock. It makes me tired, it gives me brain fog, compared to when I eat real food from whole foods like beef, eggs, and milk. I get energy, I don't have stomach issues, like I'm not going to the bathroom 5 times a day. So it really just is a long-term dopamine loop. But all of this is just literally hacking your mind. And I put it out in my Instagram story today. A lot of it is being like your own drill sergeant or your own dog trainer. Like, if your dog has diarrhea, the vet always tells you, do not feed it any more food. So you have to think of yourself like a dog. If you're sick, if you're ill, if you're sick and you're going through issues, then you have to be your own dog trainer. You can't give yourself any more bad food if you're sick. You have to change something in your lifestyle in order to make yourself better. And this is what a lot of people miss. They just think that they can get a quick and easy fix, when their dog is sick, the vet literally gives you a lifestyle change. They're saying like, what's your dog eating? What has changed in the past couple months? Has it eaten any trash or any socks? The vet is literally doing a lifestyle overview of what your dog's doing, versus when you go to the doctor, they're just trying to give you a quick fix. But this is where you come in. If your doctor's not going to keep you healthy, you have to be the one to keep you healthy. And you have to realize what's actually going on in your brain with these dopamine cycles. Okay, now let me teach you guys how to start building some positive dopamine cycles. And you can really key into these by adding positive to negatives. And this comes from a book called Atomic Habits. I suggest all of you guys read it. It's a great read. But basically, at first, when you're trying to change a negative dopamine loop, you want to pair something positive with something negative. So let's say you love doom scrolling in the morning. The first thing you want to do when you wake up is, before you doom scroll, you have to do something good for yourself. So whether that's drink water, eat a nutrient-dense breakfast, or go for a walk, do that and then allow yourself 30 minutes of doom scrolling. And I'm not saying doom scrolling is good in any sense of the imagination, but what I'm saying is when you first start trying to change these dopamine loops, you have to start small. You can't start with just waking up in the morning, doing 1,000 push-ups, then eating clean, going to the gym at 5 a.m., and then going home, running a mile. Like, people think they're gonna make these drastic changes overnight, but really it's a slow progress. And this comes from my own experience. It took me over a year to come up with Gym Tan Beef and finally realize how to replace these negative dopamine cycles with positive dopamine cycles. So the first thing you want to do is always reward yourself for doing something positive. And it can be with something negative. So something I started to do is, I really used to like the show called Kill Tony. So what I would do is when I would go for a walk outside in nature, I would allow myself to listen to Kill Tony. And that was the only time I was allowed to listen to Kill Tony, is if I was outside in nature going for a walk. Like, that was my reward for myself for going for a walk. And then I'm stacking a positive dopamine cycle onto a negative dopamine cycle, because let's be honest, like, what are you getting from watching a comedy YouTube show like that? Nothing. And that's eventually what I realized, and I don't really even watch the show anymore unless it's like background noise. But what I realized is it's just a waste of time. Like, it's literally just a dopamine hit when I could be doing way better things, like recording YouTube videos, providing values for you guys, like actually teaching you guys lessons. Rather than consuming, I'm now creating. So it's a switch that flipped in my mind. But some other examples I can give you is, like, when you wake up, if you're addicted to coffee, you should always earn your coffee. So I don't drink coffee or any caffeine, but if you drink coffee or you're addicted to caffeine, before you drink coffee, do something that's actually going to benefit you. So let's say that you're trying to lose weight. You wake up, you go for a walk, you do 100 push-ups, and then you make your coffee, but before you consume your coffee, you have to be in your car ready to go to the gym. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna associate that positive feeling of coffee, drinking it outside the gym, you're gonna associate that with the gym. And then again, you're building that positive dopamine loop. So I gave you guys examples on how to create a positive dopamine loop with the gym and with the tan, but now we have to get into beef. And this is one of the hardest ones. Just because, like I was saying at the start of this video, processed food, it's literally designed to make you addicted, to release dopamine. So this is going to be one of the hardest things to get through. But there is a way to get through it. And this is more of a long-term process. And it, again, comes back to being your own dog trainer and your own drill sergeant. And now a lot of people in the carnivore and animal-based holistic community, they'll say never count your calories, never count your macros, because, well, you should count your chemicals. You shouldn't worry about your macros or your calories. But this is something that has worked for me because I have to keep myself accountable. I have to count my calories, I have to count my macros, because I'm a natural glutton. I can eat as much raw milk as I want, as much beef, as many eggs. It doesn't matter if I'm eating clean or not, I will be a natural glutton. But what counting your calories does is it keeps you accountable long term. Because while you won't see the scale change immediately, what you do know is that you're putting in the little steps that are going to make a big change long term. So what do I mean by that? Is you're not going to see the scale overnight. Like the first day you eat clean 100%, you're not going to see the scale change. It will take a little over, I would say, a month of hard dieting to see any change in your body. And you can see this, like this is me week 1 of my cut, and then this is me week 2. Okay, look, there's not much of a change there. This is me week 3 of the cut, and then this is me week 4 of my cut. And then I'll show you week 1 and week 4. So you can see how drastic the difference is when you go for a whole month versus just week to week. You're really not going to notice that, especially if you look at yourself every day in the mirror, you're not going to see the change. But that's why you need to have the inputs that in your mind are going to register that long term you will make the change. So as long as you see yourself every day counting your calories, making sure you're staying under your maintenance calories, that's how you know in your brain that you're putting in the work, and then long term you're going to receive that dopamine hit from getting jacked, from being tan, and long term you will receive that dopamine hit because you'll see it in your body being jacked. But again, it's going to be a long-term thing. So you have to replace that beef dopamine with logging your food. And everyone says this, that anything worth anything in this world is going to take hard work. And the same comes with diet. Like everyone will tell you the hardest part about getting a good physique is the diet. So this is the one you have to stick to the most. But ultimately, what Gym Tan Beef is meant to do is create those positive dopamine loops. So number one, it's sustainable long term for you to actually live the lifestyle. Because I come from a bodybuilding background where I would just eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. And then after the gym, I would still be hungry. Number one, I wasn't getting micronutrients, but I was missing the sun. I was missing my tan. I was missing the dopamine from actually being outside. And you guys can compare this to like the old school bodybuilders. Like they were lifting weights outside, they were getting tan, but they were also eating real food. Compare that to modern bodybuilders. They're white as a ghost. They're inside all day. They eat fake protein supplements, fake protein bars. And then no wonder why after their competitions, they crash out and then they end up looking like this. Like Arnold in his prime never looked like this. While Mike Israetel is always looking like this after his show. Like he only looks good for his show. But you compare that to the old school bodybuilders and that never happened. So number one, it will keep it sustainable for you. But then number two, you're literally changing your mind, changing how your mind thinks. You're creating positive dopamine loops. Like I said, I didn't want to go to the gym today. I didn't want to be outside today because I started with a doom scroll. But as soon as I got my gym and my tan, I was like so inspired to make this video for you guys. I'm ready to go back home, hop on some client calls, even though I was like, man, I should really take the day off today. But see, the sun energizes you, it energizes your mitochondria, and you hear people say it all the time, get outside and touch some grass. And man, that couldn't be further from the truth. Like now that I'm outside, making this video, getting some exercise with walking here, talking to you guys, like I'm just wanting to keep progressing and be my best self. And you hear this, that an object in motion stays in motion. And that's so true. That applies to humans as well. If you stay busy, you stay in motion, then you're going to keep moving forward. And again, I don't want you guys falling into this negative dopamine loop because this is where it leads, fat and depressed. And I want you guys looking like this, jacked, shredded, and tan. So go out, get your gym, get your tan, get your beef, start those positive dopamine loops. And if you can't do that by yourself, then leave a comment, ask for help. But I also offer one-on-one coaching, and you guys can find the link to that in the description. And if you have more time to watch a video, I hope you go out, watch it on a walk while you're getting your gym, while you're getting your tan, but YouTube thinks that you'll like this video the most next.